Hi there, it's Angela Makey from Niche Comics and Bookshop. I want to show you some other books today that we've had delivered. Some of them are for customer orders, others we've keep a permanent collection of, and of course a brand new box. We thought we'd have them displayed out today because Guy's been busy getting painting done ready for our grand opening. So where do we start? Well, this one I think is a great one to start with. Love in the Blitz. It's original love letters, clearly written during the time of the war. It's got great good size print and they're enchanting letters, so I recommend that one to you. I'm going to put everything on the big table. This is another hardback. It's actually by an author who lives in Ely, so she's local to us. Her first one was The Watchmaker of Filigree Street. This is a beautiful cover, smashing book, and very recommended by our regular customers. So that was her first book, her debut novel. This was the second one, The Bedlam Stacks. There's some historical background to it, set in Victorian times, so it's a really good absorbing story. And as I say, this is the new one. I haven't read this one myself yet, so I'm looking forward to that. A few others I wanted to show you are some of our historical books. This is written by a writer in Godmanchester about the Sterling plane that was that crashed locally, and Roger Levers, who wrote the book, did some research and also was able to contact every single one of the original flight crew, their families, and we now have a memorial stone set up in Godmanchester to commemorate the crew of this book. There's a lot of photographs in there, so that's one well worth doing. And because we've got quite a big history around Huntingdonshire of RAF, we tend to keep quite a lot of history books in. So we've got Malin Crew as well, and a whole range of different ones, Lancaster, Spitfire, and also Don't Let Them Bag the Nines. So some of it is First World War, others are Second World War. We've also got another one which I want to show you, which is set in Yaxley. There was a vast prisoner of war camp in Yaxley at Norman Cross, and this is a book about the social history and also the day-to-day activities of all of the prisoners of war and the many thousands of people that supported them during that prisoner of war camp. And it's a fascinating historical description of life in those times. So we tend to, well, I first got to know that one from the Huntingdonshire History Festival, which happens every year in July for a month, and of course this year we're rescheduling to 2021. Here's another one which has actually got the Bookshop photograph and a little summary in it. It's all of the different pubs that are in Huntingdonshire. Many of them now have been converted into houses rather than pubs. But what's great about this story is it's written by a local author, but also it's got the original photograph of the pub and what it looks like now. And some of them, of course, are still pubs. So that's one that we always have in stock. Same with Huntingdonshire Through Time. And we've also got quite a range of books about the Fens. This one here is a lovely little one. It's anecdotal. It's called Tell Me a Story, Memories of a Happy Childhood Spent in the Fens. There's a new book called The Fens out that I'll show you next time we do a video there. One for the children now is this one, Construction and Demolition, and it's a pop-up book, so it's got lots of little flaps in it, large pictures, and also lots of details about diggers and the different transport that you'd find on a construction and a demolition site. So absolutely fascinating book. I won't do the lift the flaps now. I'll leave the new owner of this book to do that. I love Dr. Seuss books. Cat in the Hat. We've also got Jeff Goldblum reading Horace on the Facebook group for the shop. But this one I can read with my eyes shut. Is a lovely little tale, ideal for a bedtime story one there. Is another of the books, nature books, written by John Lewis Stemple. We've got a few of those. This is the one I was promoting last time on the video. I talked about the paperback, but we also have customers who request hardcovers, and if we can get them in, we do. So that's a customer order, and so is in fact this one here, Dear Life, a doctor's story of loss and love. The other one I want to point you to is These Are the Hands. This is a book of poetry that came out just before the lockdown, and it's written by people who have experience of the NHS and working on the front line. And what they've done is recorded individual poems from cleaner to orthopedic to nurses on the front line, and it's fascinating. It's written from a first person perspective, and also my sister has a poem in here as well. So that's one that we sell for $9.99, and the profits from that go to the COVID charity there. So that's, as I say, a nature one set in the First World War, where the poppies blow. This is pretty topical. Once again, it was published, or rather written before the lockdown. It's a detective story, and we do a fair number of different detective stories here, including those written by Alison Bruce, set in Cambridge. So this is one that has been in demand, and we're really pleased to get them in this week. Okay, let's see, 100 adventures to have before you grow up. Lots of lovely illustrations in there, and some tips and tricks on how to do, and also, let me just have a look. So this is fat biking, bouldering, my gosh, they're quite ambitious, aren't they? Drink from a natural spring, I think that's one I could probably manage perfectly well. Lovely book. We've got some others, Politics for Beginners, children's book. We did really well selling that. There's also a few more now, and this is the economics one. Very great for school ages, lovely illustrations, and lots of little details of information to dip into and read over a period of time. The Dungeons and Dragons ones, Adam runs groups here normally twice a week. We get a good demand for Dungeons and Dragons books, so they're the new ones that he's got ordered. The other last two I think I'll just talk about today. We've got some gardening ones back in again, so a family guide to gardening, indoors and out, once again with lots of lovely illustrations in it there. Some full page ones, and then Wild Your Garden to attract wildlife, butterflies. We've got loads of birds in our garden at the moment. Another one, which is a book club one, is Remarkable Creatures. If you do belong to a book club and you wanted to get a set of books for either as an ebook or as a physical copy for your book club to read, then we can always get those in for you. We can either deliver them individually or to the organiser of the book club. And then the last one I want to talk about today is The Haunted History of Huntingdonshire. It's a very thick book. It's £24.99, and it's written by Mark Egerton, who's a local writer and fascinated in the paranormal as well as local history, so hence the haunting element to it. It's a very fat book, and it's, as you can see, absolutely full of photographs. He will be very honest about his experiences of the paranormal within these properties and stories that have been told, and he also does ghost walks around the town, St Neots as well, and Godmanchester. But this is another one that's a really popular gift for people. As I say, you can dip in. It's all alphabetical by location, so it's very easy to go straight to Huntingdon town and then start exploring some of the towns and villages after that. Thanks very much for your time today. Good luck with the lockdown then, and happy reading.